Ladies and gentlemen, football fans across the nation, let us gather now, not in stadiums filled with the roar of the crowd, not before a line of scrimmage, but before the mirror of identity. Before the fabric of a franchise. Before the thread and stitching that binds tradition to tomorrow, the road uniform. In a league where pride lives in every yard gained and glory is written on turf and in memory, there's another battle quietly waging, one of color, cut, and cohesion. Christian D'Andrea of USA Today has stepped forth, not with a playbook or power rankings of quarterbacks, but with an artist's gaze and a critic's tongue. His canvas, the 32 road uniforms of the NFL, lined up like a gallery of war banners. At the pinnacle, flying high and proud, stand the Buffalo Bills. Their clean combination of white helmet, crisp white jersey, and the bold blue pants. A look that calls back to eras of toughness, of character, and unshakable resolve. D'Andrea doesn't hesitate, he lifts them to the summit. But where there's a top, there must be a bottom. And sadly, it is the Tennessee Titans who are anchored there. The Titans, who've struggled not only in standings but now in style. Their white and blue road ensemble, which should evoke power and precision, instead draws the label of bland. D'Andrea says it plainly. Yes, the shoulder panels are an upgrade, gone are the thick yokes of their early Nashville days. But evolution without vision can still fall short. The comparison to their revered Oilers throwbacks only sharpens the critique. They had a chance to innovate, and instead, they stagnated. But the Titans were not the only ones feeling the wrath of D'Andrea's design dissection. In fact, an entire division, AFC South, seemed to be in his crosshairs. A scathing pattern emerged, one team after another, falling, not just in the standings, but in fashion. Coming in at 31st, yes, second to last, were the Jacksonville Jaguars. A team that once reigned as an aesthetic trailblazer in teal, now reduced to what D'Andrea dubs, the NFL's most generic away uniforms. There is no sting in teal when the design lacks soul. The Jaguars have the history, the flair, and the market. But the kit, he says, is forgettable. And then we turn our gaze to Houston. The Texans. Ranked 28th, but the sting of that placement lingers like a sack on 3rd and long. D'Andrea isn't entirely merciless. He credits the road whites with cleaning up the look compared to their home set. But that compliment comes with a warning, like a quarterback praising his line right before the pocket collapses. The tapered bullhorn shoulder stripe feels tacky in theory, he says, but looks good in execution. There's almost admiration buried in that line. Admiration not for what it is, but what it nearly could be. Almost, but not quite. The verdict on the AFC South is clear. In D'Andrea's eyes, this is not the division of aesthetic champions. It's a cautionary tale, a zone where potential drowns beneath the weight of missed opportunity and lifeless templates. And beyond the South, the critique continues. The Washington Commanders get no reprieve. D'Andrea likens their away uniform to something plucked from a template. Imagine that, an identity crafted not from history, not from heritage, but dragged from a clipart folder. Once upon a time, Washington's uniforms carried legacy. Burgundy and gold stirred memories of Joe Gibbs and the Hogs, of Sunday dominance. But now, in this critic's lens, they are a shell. A costume lacking conviction. Then there's Atlanta. The Falcons. Once a style icon in the Vic era, now called out for big, clunky numbers, and red drop shadows. D'Andrea doesn't mince words. It's high school, he says, amateur hour from a franchise that should know better. He yearns, as many fans do, for the red helmets to return full-time. For a dose of that old-school grit. For the days when Deion Sanders streaked down the sideline, and the look matched the swagger. Yes, nostalgia lives deep in this ranking, but so does clarity. For uniforms are not just cloth. They are history. Identity. A second skin for warriors of autumn. And if Buffalo's clean, bold, and classic look earns them gold, then what does that say about those who settle for bland? For generic. For clunky. There is an unspoken truth in this game. Teams don't just play to win. They play to represent. Every away game is a mission into enemy territory. Every road jersey is a flag planted on foreign soil. So when the design lacks courage, lacks vision, what message does that send? To be last in standings is bad enough. To be last in identity. That's worse. And the Titans, yes, they carry that burden now. D'Andrea placed them 32nd out of 32. Dead last. The blue helmet lacks distinction. The jersey fails to inspire. The pants repeat a tired refrain. Even upgrades cannot rescue what feels like a missed chance. Perhaps they should lean into their heritage. Embrace the Oilers' legacy more than just in throwback form. Because those baby blue dreams spark imagination. These current kits, they don't even whisper. The Jaguars, the Texans, the Commanders, the Falcons, all condemned not out of spite, but out of disappointment. D'Andrea's review feels like a coach's halftime speech, not filled with rage, but a desperate plea to do better. To remember that in the NFL, appearance matters. Presentation matters. Swagger begins before the whistle. And if you walk into battle looking unsure, the opponent already has the edge. Of course, not all teams failed the test. The Bills lead the pack. Others will have received praise. But today, our focus is on the basement. On the teams who didn't just miss the mark, they didn't even swing. So let this be a challenge. A rallying cry. For the Titans, the Jaguars, the Texans, the Commanders, the Falcons, and any team ranked low. Because football isn't just played with pads and cleats. It's played with pride, with purpose, and yes, with the jersey on your back. Change begins in the mirror. In the locker room. In the design room. The fans deserve more. The league deserves more. The players deserve more. So next season, may these teams rise, not just in wins, but in how they carry themselves. May they find inspiration in their roots, in their fanbase, in their fight. Because in the National Football League, even the fabric of your journey tells a story. And it's time to weave a new one.